Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. December 15th, 2017.
2:05 here on the great WRKO. Okay, the hashtag #MeToo movement. Is it damaging relations between men and women, social relations? Is this going to ultimately damage the cause of women down the road? Maybe increasingly men will feel very reluctant to not court a woman or ask her out. Some men may even say they don't even want to hire women or employers because they're just afraid one accusation could destroy somebody's career. In other words, is the hysteria getting out of control? But before I continue with your phone calls, we're going to be discussing this later this segment, I promise. It is the Kuhner Country poll question du jour, as the French would say, sponsored by Bill Kelly Financial Services. A big local story. Should the start times of Boston public schools be changed? Starting next year in the fall, they will be. Should they be changed? Elementary school students will start having school much earlier. High school students will begin much later. Should the school start times be changed? If you believe the answer is yes, text the letter A to 680-680. If you believe the answer is no, text the letter B to 680-680. As always, you can vote online at WRKO.com. Lines are loaded. Sam in California, you're up next. Thanks for holding and welcome. Hello, Sam? Did we lose Sam? Okay, let's go to George in Walpole. Go ahead, George.
Hey, Kuhner, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you, George?
I like your program. I'm a pastor. And I'm very angry with everybody.
Okay, why are you angry, George?
We cannot judge people by their past.
Well, what do you mean?
All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. These women should stop judging men. All of us men have our past. If we have to judge people by the girl they proposed before they got married to their wives, every American man here is guilty.
I don't know, George, but thanks for that call. I don't know if I really agree with that. I mean, to me, no, I think a past is important. I think past says a lot about who you are. People can change. People can be sorry for what they've done. People can be forgiven if they're truly sorry or repentant. No, what worries me, George, to be candid, is that I think a lot of innocent people now are getting accused. A lot of people are getting accused for things they didn't do, or they're being accused for things that are incredibly minor, and now they're trying to make it up into some kind of form of sexual assault or sexual harassment, when it really isn't. So, for example, flirting, which often takes, I mean, I don't engage in it. I've only got eyes for my wife, but let that go. But it happens, in the workplace or wherever, there's flirtatious behavior. That's now considered sexual harassment. Honestly, you ask a woman out, if it makes her feel uncomfortable, especially if you ask a second or third time, you're gone. I mean, you're gone. And so this is what I mean, why it's chilling social relations. And, I got to tell you, I feel very sorry for the men and women, especially the younger men and women in our society, because, look, every era did its, whatever. In the 19th century, it was the ball, how you courted somebody at a ball. In the 1950s, it was a chocolate malt or whatever, milkshake and a dance. Whatever it is, every generation has its way of men and women courting each other, getting to know each other, having relationships. Now, hey, I think you're attractive. Sexual harassment.
Yeah, but...
Hey, I want to take you out for a coffee. Sexual harassment. Hey, can I call you up and ask you out? You're stalking me.
There's a difference now, though, Jeff. There's apps that you can download on your phone to get a date. This is an issue. We don't know how to talk to each other anymore. The millennials, it's a hookup culture. It's not dating and having a serious relationship. It's more college age, but it's a hookup culture. Like, no one wants to have a relationship. Everyone's afraid to commit and all of this stuff. So it's different now, I think. And when you set, a culture where it's okay to sleep with whoever you want to, when you want to, and you can use your phone to, download Tinder or whatever and meet someone at a bar in like 2 minutes, how are you supposed, what I'm trying to say here? Like, how are you supposed to start a relationship with someone and go through hardships and relationships and everything when all people do nowadays, like millennials, is just hook up with somebody and grab a drink. Let's get a drink and then we'll go to a hotel later. That's what it's all about now.
No, but you're right. But and I go back to the Dustin, look, I'm not talking about the other women. I'm talking about that Dustin Hoffman woman that I talked about.
Right.
She's claiming that even though, I won't go through the details again, she's claiming even though they had sex, she met him at the San Remo Hotel. They went up to his room. There was foreplay, let's just call it that.
Right.
And then they had sexual intercourse. She then says, well, I don't know if that was consensual or not. Well, if you don't know it's consensual, if you're a man, what do you know, really, you got to film it? You got to you got to get her to sign? Here's a consent form. Here it is. So what we're about to do now, you agree, right? Sign here, date it, time, everything.
I know. It's insane.
It's insane. Really, it's insane. So, no, you go up into his hotel room and you have sex with the guy willingly. That's consensual. I don't care. Too bad. Well, I have regrets about it afterward. Well, you should have thought of that before you had a roll in the hay with the guy.
Right.
Honestly, I don't know what else to tell you. Tim in Watertown. Go ahead, Tim. Hello, Tim.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. First-time caller. Thanks for everything you do. I appreciate it. I listen to you every day.
Welcome, Tim.
So, I agree with you on premise that there may be some social changes coming down the pike with all this. But I think the real issue with this is these women, especially the Hollywood, I think average women don't really see it like this, where, like you the example with your wife, asking her out and being persistent. I don't think an average woman would do that. I did that with my wife. And I think these Hollywood women who stand on their soapbox and preach, and they knew the whole time what was going on, and they did nothing to further their career. And now we're getting this. I don't know how to word it. We're getting this these social, what used to be social norms, and asking people out and going out on dates, or yes, maybe hitting on a girl at a bar, is now going to fall down to sexual assault. And I have 2 young boys, and I'm going to raise them to be good, upstanding men, treat women right, treat the mother right, and I worry about it. They're young, they're 4 and 2, but in 10, 12 years' time, I don't want to get the phone call from the cops or have the cops show up at my house because my son was trying to ask a girl out on a date at school, or maybe said something that he thought was funny that she deemed inappropriate, and now we have to deal with this fallout from it.
Bingo.
I think it's the Hollywood elites. I really do, and they have this platform, and they preach and they preach, and they're preaching wrong. Someone like Rose McGowan, who knew exactly what Harvey Weinstein was doing, but took a $100,000 payout, and then gets on her soapbox and preaches. Well, you did nothing, and you let, for years on end, Harvey Weinstein do what they did. I'll give you one example. If you have a $200 check in your pocket, and you're walking down the street, and you say, "Oh, I got to deposit this check," and you turn to go to the bank, you realize the bank's being held up by 3 masked men. Do you walk in and say, "Hey, excuse me, guys, hold on one second, I got to deposit this check"? Or do you turn around, walk out, and call the cops? A lot of these women put themselves in this situation full well knowing what they were getting into.
Bingo.
Now they're preaching.
Tim, great call. Tim, for your first time, pretty good, buddy. Don't be a stranger. Call again.
You got it, brother.
God bless you, Tim. No, look, I think it's going to blow up in their face. I think that's the point. And what I feel very sorry for is that, sadly, I really I think both men and women, boys, girls, whatever you want to call them, male, female, I think they're all going to be hurt by this. But I think the women in particular are going to be hurt by this. Because what happens when you think about this, you're rearing a generation now of men who won't pursue you, who don't even know how to court you, who are going to be reluctant to say they love you, that you're funny, that you're charming, that you're beautiful, that you're witty, honestly, for a woman, I'm just telling you, I know Grace told me afterwards, she goes, you kept making me laugh. And even though I kept saying no to you, deep down I kept saying, this guy, I don't know, he's funny and I like it the way he's pursuing me. And he really seems, he was crazy about me. And I like that about you. And I thought it was very manly that you just wouldn't let go, that you thought I was worth it to keep pursuing and pursuing and pursuing. Courtship is a very important part of life. It really is for both men and for women. And you're going to throw all that away? Never mind the other social economic ramifications. And I'm telling you, they are going to come. What's going to happen is people are going to say, we don't need the headache. One anonymous accusation, she goes to HR and we're done. And so what's going to happen is it's actually going to retard the development of the achievements that women have made in the workplace. Now, look, don't get me wrong. Sexual harassment, sexual assault, especially sexual assault, it's disgusting. It really is. And there should be protections for women. But you got to have due process. And you got to have common sense. Okay, you blow the guy. That's another thing. Like, look at the portrait they're painting of women, these sort of feminist elites now. That they're so pathetic and so fragile that if a man walks up to her at a bar and says, hey, can I buy you a drink? Or, hey, hey, you're really attractive. Or, I really find, hey, can I buy you a drink? Because, wow, I can't stop staring at you. That suddenly, I'm threatened. Oh, my God. Oh, what's he doing? I feel objectified. I'm not a person. I'm a piece of meat. It's pathetic. I'm being honest with you. So anyway, okay, speaking of pathetic, because I would be remiss if I did not do this story, okay? It's a big story that's going to affect all of you practically. Whether you have kids in school, even if you don't have kids in school, because it's going to affect you. So, Boston, and so far it's only Boston, but I'm telling you, once it's in Boston, because Boston is so big, it is such an anchor in our state, it's going to affect every other school district eventually. Boston has now made the decision through the school superintendent, Tommy Chang, as well as Macho Marty Walsh. They are now have made the decision to change the start times of schools, all public schools in the Boston area. And in particular, listen to this, starting next fall, many elementary and K-8 schools across the city are going to start their classes much earlier. Many of them as early as 7:15 a.m. By the way, in the wintertime, 7:15, there's practically no sunlight. And for high schools, they want to push the start time later. In fact, for many of them at 9:30. So you're going to have a lot of high school students starting school much later and then ending later at 4 o'clock, after 4 o'clock. But you're going to have a lot of elementary school students and middle school students starting as early as 7:15, and many of them will end as early as 1:15, 1:30, 1:45. Now, why are they doing this? Because according to Tommy Chang, because, Tommy Chang knows better than everybody. One bureaucrat knows better than everybody. According to Tommy Chang, according to Tommy, he says that students that get a little bit extra sleep, he says they perform better. So hence, high school students, I guess they need that extra half an hour snoozing in, and so they should be starting later. However, he's also concerned about the cost for all the buses and the bus system, and he says it'll actually save us money, listen to this, if the elementary school students start much earlier and then end the day much earlier. And he says that's going to allow them to get home quicker. He says it's going to lessen traffic because you won't have so many school buses during rush hour, especially in the afternoon. And so the little kids are going to start school at 7:15. Now, as you can tell, many of the parents are rightly livid. Because what they're saying is, I got to get my kid up at 6 a.m., maybe even 5:45. If school starts at 7:15, my kid is going to start getting up incredibly early. That's number one. Number two, especially for lower income people or people who have two families that have two income earners, two jobs, the wife works, the husband works. What are they going to do from 1:15 on? You got to put them in some kind of an after-school program, and that's expensive, especially if you've got 3-4 children. And so many of them are now complaining. They're actually saying they don't want these new changes. So I want you to think about this. The principals don't want it. The teachers don't want it. The kids don't want it. The parents don't want it. And yet they're still doing it. Because Tommy Chang and a few education experts think they know what's best for all of us. You ever hear the expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? What was wrong with the starting times before? Everybody was happy with it. But no, just like Common Core, just like math, just like everything else, some experts like Tommy Chang, who think they know better than everybody, have to wreck it for all of us. They are now leading a petition drive to stop this move. I'm going to give out the web address, and I'm encouraging everybody, sign up if you're opposed to this, because I think it's bad. I think it's bad for the schools, I think it's bad for the parents, and I certainly think it's bad for the students. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868. Your reaction next. 2:25. Okay, Boston school times are now going to be changing, and a lot of parents are extremely upset, and frankly, I don't blame them, especially parents with younger kids. Elementary schools, not all, but many of them, and K-8 schools are going to see their class times begin, their school times begin much earlier, some as early as 7:15 in the morning. That means they will end by 1:15, 1:30. And so now there is a huge push. It is being spearheaded, and I'm with her all the way. Jane Miller, she has started an online petition. She is a Roslindale mom. She's got 3 kids in the Boston schools. She says it's going to be way too early for her kids to be going to school. Number one, they have to get up at 5:45 or 6. Number two, they're going to be walking pitch dark. And number three, when school ends at 1:15 or 1:30, because she's got to work, her husband has to work, that's a lot of aftercare. And it's going to cost a lot of money. And so already, this petition within a day has garnered 8,000 signatures. And so, by the way, the NAACP, on this one, I'm with the NAACP. They are now against this as well. They believe it's going to hurt minority kids. They don't think it's good for all kids, but they say especially minority kids, poorer kids, they are now definitely against it. And I got to tell you, my friends, if I'm a parent in the Boston public school system, I'm not happy. Bill in New Hampshire. Go ahead, Bill.
Two issues. The first of which is I've never understood the grammar school kids going in early. Those are the kids that need to sleep. The high school kids going in later just means that they're just going to be staying up later. It's all backwards. I don't understand.
Well, and Bill, you're completely right. And the other thing is, I don't know if you remember high school, but Brittany was just reminding me, she started at 7, she finished at 2, but then she had soccer practice,
track practice, you had soccer games, you had track meets. So, what's going to happen if we get out of school at 4:30?
Bill, exactly. If you start high school now and they want to do this at 9:30 and have the kids stay there till 4:30, so if they do basketball, soccer, whatever, band practice, whatever, when are they going to be coming home? 7, 8 o'clock at night? And then they're going to be up till midnight doing homework? This is insane.
All backwards. All backwards. And the other thing is, if the kids get out at a reasonable time, they can do part-time work.
That's another good point. That's another good point, Bill. Bill, thank you for that call. CJ in Boston, you're up next. Go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Well, let's look at it from the taxpayer's point of view. These parents are complaining year after year that there's not enough money in the school budget. It's costing the taxpayers of the city of Boston approximately $110 million a year. And my question has been for years, Boston has been a minority city for several years now. Being a minority city, the question has to be answered, why do we still have busing in the city of Boston? All the parents have to do is to pick up their children and take them to school in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon. They could be pumping that $110 million a year into better schools, a better system, and better teachers.
CJ, that's a very interesting point. I never even thought of that. Look, to be full disclosure, because Ashton goes to a parochial school, a Catholic school. Grace drives him every morning. And Ava goes to pre-K. She drives her as well, but, we hope that she's going to attend the same school as Ashton. So we don't use the bus. And a lot of parents I know, for whatever reason, don't use the bus anymore. One of the two, either the father or the mother, will drive the kids, drop them off. Someone else will pick them up. They usually will stay longer. Ashton, by the way, stays longer. There's an aftercare program. He stays, I think, till 4:35. And then Grace will come pick him up and pick Ava up at 5 o'clock. So I can just tell you, in my home, we don't use the bus anymore. Okay, we're going to stay on this, I promise. 617-266-6868. Should Boston school times be changed? But first, the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, is addressing the crisis with North Korea. Evan Heidenrich will give you all those details now in the WRKO newsroom. Take it away, Evan. 2:34 here on the great WRKO. Okay, there is a petition now that is getting a lot of signatures very fast to delay or stop the changes that are now being attempted by Superintendent Tommy Chang and Macho Marty Walsh to earlier school start times. And a lot of parents, moms, dads are really upset about it. If you want to go, you can go online, sign the petition yourself. It's change.org, change.org, and sign the petition. Frankly, I'm completely against this. I think this is a horrible idea to change the start times. And if I lived in the city of Boston, I'd be signing that petition right away. Okay, the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Bill Kelly Financial Services. Should Boston Public Schools change their start times? If you believe the answer is yes, Jeff, we need kids to go to school earlier, especially elementary school kids, and high school kids to start going to school much later. Text the letter A to 680-680. If, like me, it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is crazy. Text the letter B to 680-680. As always, you can vote online at WRKO.com. Brittany, what are the poll results thus far?
61% no, 39% yes.
Joining us now to discuss this and other things as well is John Boudris. He is the co-host of the Kelly Financial Services Show, which you can listen to here on WRKO every Saturday, tomorrow, 9 a.m. until noon. He's otherwise known as the Chef. Chef John, how are you, and what are you serving up, my friend?
Well, actually, Jeff, I'm eating fish and chips at a truck stop in Bangor, Maine, Dysart's Truck Stop, one of my favorite places in the world, on my way down south for tomorrow's show. That's where I am right now.
John, before I pick your brain on what you guys are going to be discussing on tomorrow's show, just very quickly, there's been a tremendous backlash against the decision by the Boston School Committee to have elementary school students now start school at 7:15. Many parents say they have to get their kids up before 6. School will then end at 1:15, 1:30. They're going to have to pay for aftercare. For some parents say they have 3 or 4 kids. They say it's going to be extremely expensive. It's going to completely disrupt their lives. How do you feel about it?
School should start at 9 o'clock for everybody, particularly high school kids. Absolutely proven physiological matter. High school kids have a different clock than we do, and they should not be starting. No kid really should start that early. None. So I'm not in favor. I'm probably more in favor of just leaving it as it is, but not changing it to the way it's proposed.
I'm very anxious to hear about an interview that apparently was pre-taped, but it's going to air on tomorrow's show. Could you tell us about it? Because I think it's going to be a barn burner.
It is. We have Charles Ortel on tomorrow. He's a financial investigator who kind of got his chops investigating GE before it tanked many years ago and exposing its shady accounting. But what he's done in the past 20 years is he's followed the Clinton Foundation, and he's compiled a mountain of rock-solid evidence that really, in no uncertain terms, shows how the Clintons have run that foundation like Robin Hood in reverse, they've taken from the rich and the poor, and they've kept it to subsidize their lives and fund political campaigns, all illegal, and which should, really, they should have been indicted already. And what Charles will share with us is why they haven't and how that's about to change. And it's a great interview. He's a very compelling man.
I can't wait to hear it. And now, John, I also know that Kelly Financial, I know this is the Christmas season. A lot of people now should be thinking about maybe giving a call, preparing for their retirement. There is something else coming from Kelly Financial, a new publication. What is that publication, my friend?
Well, that publication is Social Security Decisions, and I'm in that. You're just a young tyke, Jeff. I'm your senior by quite a few years, and I'm right in that Social Security zone where I'm about to make some decisions and pull the trigger on a few decisions. And I thought I was rather well informed, but after reading their new publication, Social Security Decisions, I realize I'm not as well informed as I should be. And everyone should get their hands on that, whether they're already collecting Social Security or they're about to, or even if they're like you, a young buck with some years out, to make some plans to make that Social Security, when it does come, better. So I think if someone wants to call right now, 888-800-1881, one of the folks in the office would be glad to set them up with that publication and make an appointment to sit down and talk about that.
Absolutely indispensable. The number again is 888-800-1881, 888-800-1881. Congratulations on the Charles Ortel interview. John, I cannot wait to hear it. It's going to be explosive stuff. Everybody, if you can, please tune in tomorrow, 9 a.m. until noon. The Kelly Financial Services Show. It's co-hosted by John Boudris, who we're talking to right now, as well as Kelly Kelly. John, you guys are on fire. Keep up the good work, buddy.
Okay. We'll watch for your ears steaming tomorrow.
And John, hey, don't, easy on the fish and chips, my friend. I don't want you to, I don't want you to get sick or something.
No, they're getting cold. I better go eat.
John, take care, and I'll listen to the show tomorrow. God bless you, buddy.
Bye now.
617-266-6868. Okay. Quickly reset. Boston Public Schools are now planning to change the start times. For most elementary and middle school students, expect them to get up much earlier. They want school to start at 7:15, meaning it will end 1:15, 1:30. High school students, they want them to start at 9:30, meaning many of them will end at 4, even 4:30. Parents are saying it's going to cause utter chaos. It's also extremely expensive, especially for aftercare. And frankly, some parents are even saying for security issues. Some of these younger elementary kids have to be out of the house by 6 o'clock, 6:15. It's pitch black, especially in the winter. They don't like it. They're against it. There's a petition at change.org. And yet, even though the principals don't want it, the teachers don't want it, the students don't want it, the parents don't want it, Tommy Chang says and thinks he knows better than all of us. 617-266-6868. Okay, lines are loaded. Sal in Newton, you're up next. Go ahead, Sal.
Hey, Jeff. This guy, Tommy Chang, it's more like Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong. He's got to be smoking something. High school students are just going to stay up later. That's what I would have done in high school. I would have just stayed up even later. They're not going to gain an hour of sleep from this. You know what I mean?
I'm so with you. I mean, Sal, I'm so with you. I mean, come on. We all, I was a teenager. Brittany was a teenager not so long ago. I mean, come on. You don't know what you were in high school? Hey, if I could sleep in later, I stay up later. I mean, what, you think I'm going to get an extra hour's sleep. Tommy Chang says, well, they're going to get an extra hour's sleep. And that means they're going to be fresher. And they're going to be able to do even better in school. No, Tommy. They're just going to be watching videos later, genius. You would probably know that if you had some kids. You know what this guy did? I'm telling you. He read something in the New York Times. No, better yet, the Boston Globe. Ooh, look at here. Ooh, there's an MIT study. Oh, I'm so smart. And the MIT study says that high school students should be going to school at 9:30. I'm so smart. Well, that's going to disrupt the bus schedules. Well, hold on now. How about I then move the elementary school kids and have them start at 7:15? And this way I can say I'm saving everybody money. I'm so smart. I'm Tommy Chang. That's what we have. Now, one bureaucrat, one has more power than the parents, than the teachers, the principals. By the way, to the parents, you pay his freaking salary. You're the taxpayers. You paid for those schools. Hell, you own those schools. So this guy is telling you what's best for your kids? No.
Don't forget, Tommy Chang also isn't from Boston. I believe he was a superintendent in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, there you go. Well, out on the West Coast, this is how we did it over there. I'm Tommy Chang. I mean, the parents, again, look how passive they are. There they are, they're with their little placards, and they're calling up the schools, and they have a petition. No, just show up by the thousands, and what you tell Marty Walsh is this, seriously. Okay, look, no, the schools are not changing. That's a given. No, we don't want the start times. They're not being changed. The start times are not changing. The only question is, do we fire Tommy Chang? When? Do we fire him before Christmas, or do we fire him right after New Year's? Let's take a vote. Hello? No, we'll just take a vote. Everybody in there. Okay, yay before Christmas, yay after. Okay, you know what? No, before Christmas, he's out.
5-year contract for $257,000, Kuhner.
Tommy Chang makes $257,000 a year?
For 5 years he'll make it.
And they
he has
signed
a 5-year contract.
That no good liberal bum that hacked to a 5-year contract?
Yes, sir.
We're paying his salary.
Yeah.
All of us. We're paying his freaking salary.
Yeah.
$250K a year. Sorry, $257.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Look, to the parents, you got to say enough is enough. I mean, it's up to you. It's your kids. Bill in South Boston. Go ahead, Bill.
Jeff, how are you, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you, Bill?
Good. You know, the real reason behind this is these kids come into the Boston Public Schools, a lot of them come in late. They just drift in whenever they feel like it. And so they figured, well, instead of discipline them, and like they're supposed to do, so when they go out and get a job somewhere, they have to come in on time. No, we'll just move the time. And the other thing is, you remember a few years back, they were paying kids to go to stay in school. So,
unbelievable.
What do you think?
Well, Bill, what are they going to do now with the high school students? They're starting at 9:30 and they're coming in late. So are they going to start coming in now like at 10:30, 11, and then are they going to move it back to 10:30?
Well, they probably will because they're going to stay out late now, and then they're going to get into trouble.
What a disaster! What a disaster! Aaron in New Hampshire, go ahead, Aaron.
Happy Friday, Jeff. Thanks for taking my call.
Aaron, God bless you, my friend. Yeah, only a moonbat, huh, my friend? Only a moonbat could think of something like this.
I'll tell you what, $257,000 a year. I need to change my my vocation here.
I'm in the wrong line of work, my friend.
I'm in I have a comment on the schools, but may I say something real quick on the sexual harassment?
Yes, go, shoot, yes.
You know what? One of the things that's hurting our societies is it's attacking Christianity as well, because with this pack of wolves mentality that we see every time someone is accused, we're losing the decency and the grace that it takes to live as compassionate and forgiving people, and that doesn't really help the society.
I agree with
now, as far as the schools go, I hope this isn't a stretch, but this actually hurts us in a world scale, or in our place in the world, because while we're sitting there and we're lowering our standards for the hours that these kids go to school, and we're coddling them, and we're lowering the standards for testing and the curriculum, and we're using our schools as a social experiment, countries like China are raising their standards. So our kids are our future. If we don't show them what it means to be a world leader and the amount of work and what it takes to do that now, well, generations from now, those other countries are going to surpass us. And we're not going to be able to blame those countries. We're only going to be able to blame ourselves.
Aaron, bingo. I think you hit the nail on the head. Look, the Chinese, for all of their sins, or whatever, the Russians or the Indians, from India, whatever, they would never do this to their own kids. They wouldn't. They wouldn't. They would never say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have them start getting up at 5:30 in the freaking morning so they can be at school by 7. Like, who does this? I mean, really, honestly. Look, I've got 2 little ones, okay? Ashton is in grade 1, Ava's in pre-K. Okay, they both start at 8:15. 8:15, 8:20. Don't quote me on that, but basically 8:15-ish. Okay, 8:15, 8:20. To get them up at 7. Hi. Come on, Ashton. Come on, Ava. Let's go. Let's go. Pack them a lunch. Get them dressed. Brush your teeth. Get them in the car. Let's go. It's like pushing a rock up a mountain. You want to have these kids start getting up at 5:30, 5:45? And then many of these are lower income kids. So you want them walking those neighborhoods at 6:15, 6:20 to get on a bus when it's pitch black? Like, are you insane? No, really, are you insane? And then, like that poor woman that started the petition. She's got, 3 kids? They all going to be finishing at 1:15. Now, she's got to work. Her husband's got to work, right? Because the taxes are so high. Cost of living is so high. Hell, rent or housing is so high. So you got to have 2 incomes now. So you got to the mother can't finish before 4:35 to pick them up. So 3 kids for 3 or 4 hours of aftercare a day. Just do the math. And what's incredible is it's not Jeff Kuhner is complaining. Almost every parent is showing up at these committee hearings saying, we don't want this. Whose idea was this? We hate this idea. And so the parents are completely against it. The kids don't want it. The teachers and principals are saying, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? And yet there they are. Because they're moonbats. They know better. They know better. It's like Peter Strzok at the FBI. No. Trump is going to lose this election. I know better. Hillary has to win. Come on, I know better than everybody. So, blank off to the American people. Blank you. Well, in this case, blank you to the taxpayer. Now, I didn't know this. Boy, am I in the wrong racket. How much does Macho Marty? He makes more. Tommy Chang, the superintendent, makes more than the mayor. Are you kidding me?
Yes, $175,000 is what Marty Walsh makes, and Tommy Chang makes $257,000. So
he makes 75. Actually, no. He makes He makes $82,000 more a year than the mayor.
Right.
I want Tommy Chang's job. 2:55 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends. So Tommy Chang, Dr. Chang, he has a PhD. Forgive me. Dr. Chang not only makes $257,000 a year, 5-year contract, voted on, by the way, by the Boston School Committee. So I said to Brittany, I said, you see how generous they are with our money? Huh? Oh, when it's our money, they spare no expense. He has the summer off. He's got 3 months off in the summer. So he's not even being paid $257 for the full freaking year. It's for, quote, 9 months of work.
And I'm sure when he retires, he'll get the pension.
Oh, yeah, the 80%
and
pension.
then he'll be paid off for the time, for sick time and vacation time and everything else. But, you know, when there's not enough money in the budget for the school system, they have to lay off teachers that are in the schools, and they got to get rid of arts and music and everything else. But this guy can sit with a nice cushiony $257,000 a year and a nice 80% pension too.
Nothing but the best for Tommy. Nothing. But budget cuts, you poor teachers out there on the front lines. Hey, blank you. We got to let you go. The art program, the music program, we got to let you go. But Tommy, he's worth every penny. Ken in Maine, you're up next. Go ahead, Ken. Ken.
Hi, Jeff. I've listened to you since day one. I'm a teacher on the North Shore, and I can tell you from experience, we had the bright idea in our district to have a late opening on Wednesdays every week. The kids had to come in at 8:15 instead of 7:25. I can tell you there were more kids showing up late on those late opening days than we had on regular days.
So you're saying, Ken, is when they move the start times back for those high school students, they're not going to be coming in at 9:30. They're probably going to be coming in at 10 or 10:30.
100% correct.
Incredible. Incredible. Ken, as a teacher, I'm just curious, as an educator, how do you feel about this move proposed by Superintendent Tommy Chang?
Clearly, it's not going to go through with the resistance, I hope. But it's a complete waste of time. They're going to see a reduction in the number of kids that are going to be able to get to school on time, and you're just conditioning them to wake up later and be less responsible.
Ken, don't be a stranger. Call again, buddy.
Absolutely.
God bless you, Ken. Adam in Waltham. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, how's it going, Jeff? I just want to let you know I admire what you do. You lead by example. And so I used to drive school buses in the Springfield area. I wasn't making enough money doing that, so I changed careers this last year. But I just wanted to say the whole school start times have everything to do, at least in my experience, with transportation management. Okay, in Western Mass they have a 4-school setup. So chronologically, you start with the older kids. You drop them off between 7:15. You move on to the junior high kids. 7:30 to 7:45 drop off. The middle school is about 8:15 to 8:30, and the elementary school kids get there between 8:45 and 9 o'clock. And you know, I don't know what his motives are behind pushing the start time back for the older kids, but having the younger kids start earlier is probably just to try and balance that. In my opinion, like you said, it's not broke, don't fix it, and the way we do it seems to be working. And it's like the older kids can afford to get up earlier. The younger kids really need their sleep. And I interact with these kids every day. I was the first person to interact with these kids every day. And having these younger kids start early isn't going to do anything.
Adam, you hit the nail on the head. The younger kids need to sleep a little more. The older kids can, in fact, get up earlier. They have it completely backwards. Liberalism is a mental disorder. Exhibit A, Tommy Chang.
Voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 3 o'clock.